One day in March, my father, Joseph Robert Cotter II, breathed his last. One day in March, his broken body bowed to that power that births us and deaths us all. One day in March, father's heart frantically fluttered in frenetic futility and surrendered to fate the future of his time on this earth. One day in March, my father died. Days, perhaps weeks, perhaps months earlier, the VA hospital gained another inpatient, and patiently we waited for whatever was to come. He had served in NAM, Private First Class, Americal Division, United States Army, tour of duty 1969 to 1970, veteran of foreign wars. He didn't like to remember it or be remembered for it. Post-NAM, he became involved in Veterans Against the War, a soldier of peace, a man who thrived on the struggle, who lived to fight against the powers that hold back humanity and collaborate to divide and deride us. For obeying his heart, he was disobeying the laws that enforced the slaying, imprisoned for refusing to participate in pointless conflict. This was his true service. The GI Bill and a cheerless hospital bed were all the government's reward for that falsehood they celebrated him for. You may think that my bitterness towards the Department of Veterans Affairs is fairly unfair, and indeed I am grateful for the care he received there, but more grateful for the free air and his final stare at the stars and the journey that brought him home, the Grateful Dead. He was grateful to be on his land, in the house his hands had imagined and drafted, the house that Joe built. Grateful to be away from the grim gray silence of the hospital, tales of old campaigns of jangling medals and American legionnaires. But home was not the place of peaceful rest, not yet. The hospital traveled home with him. Machines whirred, his words slurred, the silence blurred back into the cacophony of the restless mess that prepares us for death. His breath, labored words flavored by the morphine drip, sipping blue sky ginger ale as though it would ease the cancerous clots from his organs. Do not go gentle into that good night, Father. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Days passed, dazed in the haze of last farewells, weeping in stairwells, I can't bear it. Been wearing the same clothes for the past 5 days, forgot to change, but not through sloth or lazy ways. Through glazed eyes, my father's amazed gaze pierces this crazy malaise. His talk becomes more confused, infused with the eagerness for the next phase, for the end of the ruse, the drop of the veil, for what's really through that final doorway. Who can say? His abused body bloated from fluid, flesh filled with the cold and stillness of the failing frame, fighting for each labored gasp of life, drinking in air and oxygen, those last vestiges of mortality. And we gathered there, friends formed firm as family, brother, sister, wife, 2 sons are the ones closest to our hearts, and we played music and sang songs of the kind of beauty that breaks your heart and then mends it. If your cup is full, may it be again. Then you'll be a man, my son. We talk then, sit by his side as he slips through the dimensions, sometimes alert and at full attention, but often in the slow procession to the door between this world and our next ascension. Exhaustion is lost upon us, sleepless nights have no cost on us, until my father is crossed and our loss is embossed on the frost of our chilled souls. How small he looks, how thin, how gaunt. Sunken eyes close above hollow cheeks, 30 days into the hunger strike. More music, ripple, angel band, the parting glass, I am weary, let me rest, their meaning suddenly thrown into sharp relief against that brief flame of dying light. Weeping and singing, wailing, hands wringing, arms clinging, pain stinging, sorrow, grief, and joy bringing. Joy for this man whose murals marked the metropolis, who toppled the corporation and elatedly celebrated with spontaneous creation. Outside in, inside out, McMinimans, the Portland Building, Buckman, Baghdad, Crystal Ballroom, Bronze Jerry, his passion carried and surely paid the boatman's fee. And I see him, his skin so thin and clear, the skull beneath so near, and he is beautiful. This final journey, this is the one we all must take alone. The world spins, his breath comes shorter, sharper, straining towards something only he can see, as yet unwilling to release his body and fly free. I speak to him, tell him I love him, that he must let go, he must let go, he must let go, for his pain is so great, and there is no more help nor relief our hands can devise. A little longer, another breath, and then another, in and out, another breath, another breath. We sing, the melodies wrenched from raw lungs as tears trickled in torrent, tracking down the tired lines and stubble on my face. A little longer, my eyes close. I drift, half waking, half sleeping, disturbed by my dreams. Hear my father tell my mother to look at him, lock eyes, last vision as earth grows smaller, smaller, and galaxies swirl and loom in his lover's eyes. He dives into those mirrors, those windows, perceiving the mighty truth that they hold. Thump. The heart. Thump. Inhale and exhale. Thump. A sigh. Sleep. I wake to a roaring, a wave that breaks over me, terrible in its silence. I hear the words. He stopped breathing. Machines dead. Father dead. He stopped breathing. breathing, so still. The eye can't believe that, expects at any time the chest to rise, the lids to flutter. Stillness. He stopped breathing. No tears. Others weep, press me close. I am numb, I am dumb, deaf to the silence, deaf to the sobs. He lies there like a king on his embroidered pillow, hands folded, a bright woolen hat crowning him, asleep, an effigy, a saint. My father. The parting glass, the old words and melodies spill from us as we pass the bottle of Irish whiskey from hand to hand, the fire burning life back into our frozen features. More tears. The sun is shining. My father is dead.